World War II was approaching its most brutal and decisive phase in Europe. The year was 1944 and the Allies were pushing deep into German-occupied territory. American forces were advancing faster than German planners had ever expected. At the center of this rapid advance stood one man named General George S. Patton. Patton was known for speed, aggression, and relentless pressure on the enemy. His Third Army moved like a storm across France after the Normandy breakout. German defenses collapsed faster than new plans could be written. Every mile Patton advanced brought the war closer to German soil. German high command began to panic as supply lines stretched thin. Factories were bombed and fuel shortages worsened every week. Despite this, Germany still believed technology could change everything. One machine symbolized that belief more than any other weapon. That machine was the Panzer Kampfwagen V Panther tank. The Panther was designed to destroy light tanks with ease. Its thick-stoped armor could deflect most American shells. Its long-barreled 75mm gun could kill from terrifying distances. On paper, the Panther was superior to the Sherman tank. German generals trusted the Panther like a miracle weapon. They believed quality could defeat a light quantity. In late 1944, a bold decision was made by a German general. 58 brand new Panther tanks were gathered for a single mission. These tanks had barely finished factory testing. Some crews had never seen combat before. The order was simple and desperate: stop Patton at all costs. The Panthers were sent toward the Lorraine region. This area had rolling hills, forests, and narrow roads. It was terrible terrain for inexperienced tank crews, but German command believed raw power would be enough. The Panthers moved forward in long steel columns. Engines roared and tracks crushed frozen ground. German soldiers believed this was the counterattack that would change everything. American reconnaissance planes spotted the movement almost immediately. Patton was informed within hours of the German deployment. Unlike German commanders, Patton welcomed enemy attacks. He believed attacking forces were easier to destroy than defenders. American artillery units were repositioned quietly. Tank destroyers were hidden along expected routes. Infantry units prepared ambush positions in villages and forests. Sherman tank crews were briefed on Panther weak points. American doctrine focused on coordination, not armor thickness. When the Panthers finally made contact, reality struck hard. Mechanical failures appeared before combat even began. Engines overheated under constant strain. Transmissions broke on rough terrain. Some Panthers were abandoned without firing a shot. American artillery opened fire from miles away. Shells rained down with terrifying accuracy. Radio coordination allowed rapid target adjustment. German crews struggled to communicate under fire. Patton's forces attacked from multiple directions at once. Panthers were powerful but blind without infantry support. American infantry slipped close through forests and hedgerows. Bazookas targeted weaker side armor. Mines destroyed tracks and immobilized tanks. Air support arrived as weather cleared. Fighter bombers hunted Panthers like predators. Explosions ripped through columns of German armor. Smoke filled the countryside. German command realized too late that speed mattered more than strength. Each destroyed Panther slowed the advance further. Fuel shortages made retreat nearly impossible. Crews fought bravely but were overwhelmed. The battlefield became a graveyard of burning steel. Days later, the shocking numbers became clear. Out of 58 Panthers, only 8 returned. The rest were destroyed, abandoned, or captured. Patton continued his advance almost uninterrupted. German hopes of stopping him were crushed. This battle proved a harsh truth of modern warfare. Superior machines mean nothing without strategy and logistics. Technology cannot replace coordination and experience. The Panther was powerful, but power alone was not enough. Part 1 of this story ends with a devastating realization. Germany was running out of time, fuel, and options. Patton was running out of enemies. The battle did not end with the first clash of steel and fire. What followed was a slow and brutal dismantling of German hopes. The surviving Panther units tried to regroup under constant pressure. American reconnaissance never allowed them to disappear. Every road became a trap. Every village became a killing ground. Patton's command style demanded constant movement and aggression. American units attacked day and night without pause. German tank crews suffered from exhaustion and fear. Many had not slept for days. Cold weather made conditions even worse. Fuel shortages forced Panthers to shut down engines frequently. A stationary tank quickly became a dead tank. American artillery adjusted fire with deadly precision. Forward observers guided shells onto exact coordinates. Explosions flipped tanks onto their sides. Tracks were blown apart like paper. German recovery vehicles were destroyed before they could act. Panthers trapped in mud became immobile targets. Sherman tanks avoided frontal combat whenever possible. Instead, they flanked from multiple directions. American tank commanders used speed as a weapon. Smoke shells blinded Panther gunners. Radio coordination allowed instant tactical changes. German communication lines collapsed under pressure. Orders arrived late or not at all. Some Panther units advanced without knowing friendly positions. This confusion proved fatal. American infantry closed in using terrain for cover. Bazooka teams waited patiently in forests. A single well-placed shot could disable a Panther. Once immobilized, the tank was finished. Flamethrowers were used in close combat. German crews sometimes abandoned vehicles in panic. Air superiority sealed the Panther's fate. American fighter bombers roamed freely overhead. Pilots spotted armored columns with ease. Rockets slammed into tank roofs. Machine gun fire targeted exposed crews. German anti-air defenses were almost non-existent. Weather delays only postponed destruction, not escape. When skies cleared, attacks resumed instantly. Patton's logistical machine worked flawlessly. Fuel, ammunition, and reinforcements flowed non-stop. German supply lines were stretched beyond repair. Each destroyed Panther weakened nearby units. Morale collapsed faster than armor. Veteran German officers recognized the situation immediately. This was no temporary setback. It was systemic failure. Commanders requested withdrawal. High command demanded resistance. Conflicting orders created chaos. Some units retreated without permission. Others stayed and were annihilated. American forces exploited every hesitation. Captured German maps revealed defensive plans. Patton adjusted his routes accordingly. Panthers were forced into predictable quarters. Ambushes became unavoidable. Village turned into traps of fire and steel. Panther armor resisted frontal hits but not reality. War had evolved beyond single weapons. Combined arms ruled the battlefield. Germany no longer controlled the tempo. Each day ended with fewer Panthers operational. Some were cannibalized for spare parts. Others were sabotaged and abandoned. American soldiers inspected destroyed Panthers with disbelief. The feared machine lay broken and burning. Rumors spread through German ranks. The Panthers were failing. Confidence vanished. Fear replaced discipline. Patton sensed total collapse approaching. He ordered relentless pursuit. No time was given to reorganize. Every retreat turned into a rout. German resistance became fragmented and local. The Panther force that was meant to stop Patton was dissolving. By the end of the engagement, losses were undeniable. The battlefield told a brutal story. Steel monsters lay scattered across frozen fields. This was not just defeat, it was the destruction of a strategy. Part 2 ends as German command faces the inevitable truth. The Panther offensive had failed completely. When the smoke finally cleared, the battlefield revealed the full cost of failure. Burned-out Panthers marked the paths of shattered German ambition. Only 8 tanks returned from a force of 58. The rest were lost to fire, breakdowns, or capture. German commanders struggled to explain the disaster. On paper, the Panther was superior. In reality, war is never fought on paper. Mechanical complexity became a fatal weakness. Factories could not replace losses quickly enough. Spare parts were almost non-existent. Fuel shortages crippled any hope of recovery. Training standards had collapsed under wartime pressure. New crews were rushed into battle unprepared. Experience could not be manufactured. Patton's forces studied the battlefield carefully. They learned valuable lessons from destroyed Panthers. American doctrine emphasized adaptability. Every encounter became a training opportunity. Sherman crews refined flanking tactics. Infantry and armor coordination improved rapidly. Artillery dominance proved decisive. Air power changed the nature of armored warfare. German officers admitted the battlefield was lost. Retreats became strategic withdrawals. Withdrawals became desperate escapes. The Panthers' defeat symbolized the larger collapse. German industry was no longer sustainable. Allied bombing had crippled production lines. Resources were scattered across too many fronts. Command decisions became increasingly unrealistic. Orders ignored battlefield conditions. Reality punished those mistakes mercilessly. Patton pressed forward without hesitation. His momentum never truly slowed. Cities fell in rapid succession. German defensive lines dissolved one after after another. Morale among American troops soared. Victory felt inevitable. German soldiers sensed the end approaching. Desertions increased quietly. Equipment was abandoned more frequently. The myth of German technological superiority faded. Allied soldiers no longer feared Panther tanks. They respected them but understood their limits. History would remember this engagement as a lesson. Technology alone cannot win wars. Logistics decide outcomes long before battles begin. Speed often defeats strength. Coordination defeats brute force. Patton embodied modern warfare principles. Aggression denied the enemy time to think. Flexibility defeated rigidity. The Panther became a symbol of lost potential. It was powerful but too late, too complex, too expensive, too fragile for a collapsing system. After the war, analysts studied the wrecks. Military historians debated what could have been done differently. Some argued better fuel supply might have helped. Others blamed rushed deployment. Most agreed the outcome was inevitable. Germany could no longer sustain mechanized warfare. The battlefield had moved beyond isolated weapons. Combined arms warfare had matured. The Allies mastered it first. Patton's victory accelerated the collapse of German resistance. Every destroyed Panther shortened the war. Every mile gained pushed Allied forces closer to Berlin. The story spread among Allied units. Confidence became unstoppable. Fear shifted sides. The German general who ordered the attack disappeared into history. Patton became a legend. The Panthers became wreckage. This battle became a warning for future armies. Never rely on a single weapon. Never underestimate coordination. Never ignore logistics. Never fight yesterday's war. The war continued, but its outcome was sealed. Germany's defeat was no longer a question of if, it was only a question of when. Part 3 ends where history begins to close the chapter. The Panthers failed. Patton did not.